everyone that's listening right now, and welcome to the debaters that will be debating today. I almost said tonight. Brain's not working. To let everybody know, we're going to do uh, two 10-minute openings for each of them. Then we're going to do a 45-minute open discussion. Now, if you guys don't use the full time for your openings, that's fine. I'll just be bumping that over to wait, why can I share my screen now? Okay, I guess I can't put the timer up. And we'll move that over to the open discussion to make it longer. If you guys decide at the end you guys want some extra time, we can add an extra 5 or 10 minutes. And to let everybody know that's listening, we have a new system that we set up a while ago. If you want to, and Whodunit's going to post it in the chat. So you follow the instructions there. You put at MDD staged questions. You put who you want the question to go to, or if it's for both, put both, and then put your question below it so that I can then read them at the end of the discussion. Other than that, I think that's everything I need to say for the moment. And thank you everyone that's here listening. And once again, thanks to debaters for coming on to discuss this. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to ask who would like to go first.
I mean, does Azramelle, do you want to go first again since you are the affirmative position?
Take it. Let me finish chewing my rice. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that question. Yeah, sure. So I'm the affirmative. Let's go. So, kids make people happier. Do people want kids? I mean, it's interesting. There's claims from mothers who experienced unplanned pregnancies. They're still happy about their pregnancy despite using contraceptive forms that are less effective but more available than sterilization. A study by Secura et al. In 2010 showed that women will choose to use more effective methods of birth control if there's not a financial or accessibility barrier. Therefore, despite being happy about their unplanned pregnancies, it's safe to say these women have similar motivations to those who did not end up pregnant. So, kind of my affirmative here is that you need to sterilize yourself. Kids making people happier, that's kind of a side point, really. But it's going to be the main topic, I feel like, that we talk about here. So I'm just going to go off of that. Let's talk about intended pregnancies. Parenthood begins at the time of birth, and it can be indicated by a sudden drop in marital satisfaction, an increase in stress, anxiety, irritability, other psychological distressors. In fact, parenthood has been shown specifically to have a negative impact on life satisfaction for Americans and Australians until the nest is empty. For those of you who don't know, that basically means like when your kid grows up and goes to college or lives on their own, your nest that you raise them in is empty, and some people, like, that's like a thing. And that's actually a phenomenon that's been shown to improve marital satisfaction. So what do we make of this? Sorry, that was a dumb question. Furthermore, the financial and emotional burden of child-rearing services serves to reduce overall life satisfaction one would find when possessing financial and social freedom, something most parents have to surrender in order to maintain their lifestyle and relationships with their children. Let's talk about marriage then. How many marriages end in divorce? The answer is about half. Are you really going to put your kid through that? Personally, I was a child of divorce, and it sucked. I think that I have long-standing issues because of it, and I think a lot of other Americans also experience that. In fact, over half of all American children experience traumatic events, not just divorce, but just traumatic events before the age of 16. And the people most likely to abuse or neglect them are their own parents. If you think this would not apply to you as a parent, then you are either ignorant or a fool. So now let's go back to the affirmative here. What should you do about this? You can't really control other people. You know what I mean? You can't stop people from abusing their kids. So what you can do is you can take yourself out of the equation. If you are thinking to yourself, I really do have dreams and goals in my life that I'd like to accomplish. And you're sexually active, and you don't want a pregnancy. If you're depressed, or if you're undecided, just sterilize yourself, because you can adopt later. Your depression will affect your child. You're gonna lose the option to sterilize yourself sooner or later if you're a woman. Like, let's be honest about that. And like I said, you can adopt, which kind of goes to another point. Like, a child isn't really an extension of your will. They're their own person. So, a lot of people say, like, oh, you got to preserve your legacy or your bloodline. Like, that might be your job, but that's not your kid's job. Like, your desires aren't guaranteed to be your kid's desires. So the experiences that you wanted to have, that maybe you wish that your kid will do, like if you wanted to be a cheerleader, and then your kid was a cheerleader, and you're like, oh my God, that's great, I'm basically a cheerleader. Like, that's not guaranteed. You know what I mean? And furthermore, it really fucks with kids when you don't support them in what they actually want to do, and you push what you want to do onto them. So adopt. If you really are that kind of person, and you want a kid to pursue some legacy for you, kids who are adopted are better off than kids who aren't adopted. So that's your best choice if you want to be selfish like that. As a man, you owe it to yourself to get a vasectomy. You have a higher capacity to fertilize multiple people within a year than a female does, who could be incapable of fertilization for months due to pregnancy. As a woman, you owe it to yourself to fight to get your tubes tied. It's much harder for women to get a tubal ligation while young than it is for a man to get a vasectomy scheduled, which means not only, do men need to provide greater support for a woman's autonomy, we also need to normalize and encourage more men to think carefully about their means of contraception, which for a man, the best option other than a vasectomy is a fucking condom. Are condoms 100% effective? No. In fact, if you have sex over 100 times, you're likely to get a failure from your condom. So guys, are you going to trust every sexual partner you have? Like, to get an abortion or to raise a child? Are you okay with being that kind of person? And kind of the main takeaway that I really want you to understand is that birth control will fail given enough use due to statistical measures. You will be financially freer than if you were to have a child, which in many cases can be the difference between life-crippling debt, and affording a secure house, like a secure housing situation. Women and their husbands are losing legal rights to their own reproductive status. So if you're in a committed monogamous sexual relationship, like a marriage, it's your obligation to prevent this from harming your partner. If you oppose abortion, it's your obligation to support this notion if you wish to see a reduction in abortions. Finally, being pregnant and raising a child is a process of suffering for all involved. In fact, your child's traumatic event can actually give you PTSD. We should avoid unnecessary suffering at all costs. The options of adoption, retirement funds, investments, and more provide an environment where pregnancy is an unnecessary process for couples to feel satisfied or fulfilled or accomplished with their lives. Sterilizing yourself removes the risk of unnecessary suffering from your life.
All right, so I'll stop that and restart the timer. And Poop, you are free to go.
Okay, so with your argument here, honestly, I do not disagree. You should get a vasectomy. Or whatever. because those are reversible surgeries. If you ever change your mind and you do want a kid, you can do that. But I'm going to talk about the stressors, the abuse, and the financial gain problem. First off, stressors and financial, I think, are one of the same for the most part, not necessarily. Caregiving is something that should be treated as a job. If we did so, then people wouldn't have to work a job on top of balancing all the responsibilities of a kid. They would also not have a financial issue if we properly compensated for it. And it makes sense anyway, since who's going to be ultimately making a financial gain out of your kid? The state, because they're going to get more taxes when they grow up eventually. They're going to have a new person to add to their army if they want to. I do understand your take on abuse, but the main thing is most abuse happens because people don't understand it's abuse. My dad would spank me as a kid, and he thought that wasn't abuse. He still doesn't think it's abuse to this day. If you know what is and isn't abuse, you're much less likely to commit it. And if we're going to talk about how it can be traumatizing for both the kid and you, if the kid has a traumatizing moment, all I have to say is, like, should you just, like, stop existing? If so, I can get into the antinatalism arguments. But until then, let's just go into open discussion.
All right. Let me go and stop that. Bump it up to 50. So we are going to do 50-minute open discussion since it's got time left over. And you guys are good to go.
All right. So you said that caregiving should be like accounted for and treated as a job.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So what are foster parents?
Like that, but like even if it is your own kid, like you shouldn't just go unpaid just because you're the one that had the kid.
So if you decide not to have a kid, you don't get money?
Well, you're not. Well, the money is to help with the financial strain of having more responsibilities and having to pay for the kid. Yeah. So
Why
why
should
would you
people
get paid for something that you don't do?
So I guess maybe my question to that is like, you're saying that the state has incentive then to pay people to have kids?
Yeah. Do you think that the state has incentives for childbirth and also for immigration? Immigration is a stopgap. We're using the birth rates of other countries to supplement our own.
So you're suggesting that the state plays a role in people's personal decisions to reproduce?
I mean, yeah, like it already does when it bans contraceptives. Why would the opposite not also be
So
on the
why
board?
are you leaning into that? Why are you
I'm
trying
trying to
to
say,
remove people's freedoms, and you're trying to shackle people down with children? It sounds like you're saying, okay, having a
no.
kid
I'm
is too
not for
financially
banning
burdensome.
contraceptives. I'm saying, wouldn't you rather have them do that instead of banning contraceptives?
No, I'd rather people have kids when they're ready. And like, if you decide that you want kids one day, you need to prepare to like have a much lower quality of life than if you don't have kids.
I know, but I'm saying, like, making the quality of life higher for having a kid, wouldn't that make it so more people are more readily available?
Yeah, make the world a better place? Sure, dude. Like, I agree. However, it's not a great place. Like I said, over half of all people experience some sort of traumatic event before the age of 16. And that's like I didn't check, but that's most likely just in America. Like in a developed nation where the stressors are different and food insecurity it looks a lot different than it does for other nations.
Okay, let's both be real here. America is not the best place to live when it comes to being raised in it.
Yeah, so why would you want to have a kid here?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not on the onus of the parents, or in other words, like our low birth rates isn't on the onus of the parents where they're not given the proper incentives. The state should be trying to give us better incentives so people that do want to have kids can, and people that are indifferent to having kids might be incentivized towards having them.
Because the state?
Because the state needs more children to exist. We can see this from like Japan, which is having a huge issue with its current birth rate and most of its population being much older and unable to properly work.
Yeah, but like, why do you want the state to benefit from your child?
Well, I'm trying to say, like, it's going to either way. The main person, like it's not something I want. It's just something that happens. Two things are inevitable: death and taxes.
Like, why not just make the world a better place for childless people?
Well, that's the thing. Having
Because
more
they won't have a
people
workforce?
is beneficial for childless people too, because the government is getting more taxes because it has more people doing work.
Man, you really are just pushing this government train.
Are
And
you bad government? Do you want to live without the government? Look, I'm not a fan of the state either. I'm a communist, but I understand that no state and no government is a lot worse than yes state, yes government.
okay, man, but you're talking about a world that we don't live in right now. Like
I know,
I'm
but I'm
talking
trying.
about in the current country right now, for your well-being, you should sterilize yourself to prevent all this crazy shit from affecting you, and to prevent it from affecting your kid, and to prevent it from affecting your wife. Yeah, change the world and make it a better place. It doesn't really look like that's happening, dude. Like, the government is cracking down on people. There's a fucking war going on just over Ukraine. Some bullshit with NATO. Is that gonna change? Are you gonna tell me that in the next 50 years that's looking better?
Maybe. We don't know that, and we won't know that if we all just stop having kids. It will just be a nothing. Like,
You won't know shit.
that's
You'll
what
be
I'm
dead.
saying. Like, are you saying that we should just not try because right now things are bad, so things can't get better?
I'm saying that having a kid is having a kid in the face of this is way more selfish and going to make your life a lot worse than not having a kid.
The only way to fix it is more manpower. You can't just stop having kids and expect this to stop. Eventually, another species that is not human, that isn't having this conversation right now, is going to slowly evolve into something like humans, and we're going to start this whole cycle again, aren't we?
I don't fucking know,
If
dude.
everyone sterilizes themselves, that's the end goal, is the human race goes extinct. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, are the however many people who watch this everyone? I think for their own well-being, not having kids is a much better option. Realistically speaking, everybody in the world should not sterilize themselves for the sake of the human race. If that's something that you value, if you value something else, the sake of the human race isn't really why give a shit? You know what I mean? You're not going to be around for the end of whatever. If humanity goes extinct, you're not really going to care because you'll be dead.
Why care about anything then? Really, why care about your own well-being?
So you're saying that you should only care about anything if you have kids? Is that kind of what you're asking me?
No, I'm asking you if
If
we
I
don't
don't have
care
kids,
about the
why
human
care about it?
race. The human race makes sure that we have this level of comfort. Like,
Because I
we
don't know
wouldn't have
you.
that if we didn't
I
continue
don't
having kids.
I don't really care about you. I don't care about your family. I care about me and I care about my family. And I care about the people I love. Like, those people are who I care about. And when I die, I won't care about them anymore because I'll be dead. So, my child would not have an obligation to care about those same people. So, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I guess if you don't, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if you don't care about, like, other things, then that's on you. But you're advocating for other people to sterilize themselves. Some other people do care about the human race.
Yeah, do you think that you're gonna be the dude who like creates the kid who's gonna like fix everything?
No, but I do think I'm going to
So
help.
why would you have how?
Nothing is done by one person. Everything is a
Sure.
conglomerate of many different people. Like, you can't just expect to solve the issue with one kid, but it doesn't
I
mean
mean,
that.
if that's your goal, then maybe everybody on Discord should take themselves out of the gene pool and prevent themselves from creating like these toxic individuals as their own children. Like you know, like if your goal is the betterment of society, like and the issue is humanity, your solution is to take humanity out of like you know what I mean? I don't understand necessarily how having more manpower makes the world a better place. It just makes more people.
Here, it doesn't make the world a better place by itself, but it gives us the ability to try things. We can't improve the world if we just give up. Even if we
I'm not
were to
saying give
go
up.
extinct and the human race stops, another species is going to have the same conversation, and it's going because it's going to eventually evolve to have consciousness. Can we both agree that, like, even if we die out, that there'll eventually be some other form of intelligent life that comes to exist through the process of evolution?
Okay.
So if we're just going to have, even if we sterilize ourselves, when we just have the same issue again, so on and so forth.
We'll be dead.
Oh, like, this is what I mean. Like why? Like, it just sounds like you
Stop bringing more
don't.
people into the world to share your suffering. Fix the fucking issue. And then, once things are good and look great for children, and they're not abused, and they're not traumatized, and shit doesn't happen to them that forces them into sketchy and terrifying situations, then have a kid. Then
Are
it
there
wouldn't
things
really
that
be
you
so
want to
selfish.
do that you can't do in a lifetime?
Sure,
How are you going to do that if you're dead?
you won't.
Okay. Well, you can't guarantee and force your kid to do what you want. You're giving that to be another person to help other people. He may want to do someone else's thing that they can't do in a lifetime. Like, you think, like, I don't understand your total ambivalence. Like, if we're just going to go by, like, we'll be dead by then, so who cares? Why are you even debating that we should sterilize yourself? You won't be alive to care that people had kids.
For your own well being while you are alive, it's only going to benefit you.
I know, but why do you care about other people's well being? You just said you only care about yourself and your family.
So, why am I here debating?
Yeah, like, why do you want other people to sterilize themselves if the only reason is for personal benefit and you don't
So,
care?
like, if you want like a legit answer, when I was a kid, you know, I was really argumentative with people. I love to argue. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is research stuff that I kind of think are unpopular or something like that. Like that's why I'm here.
It's So
'Cause
it's just
'cause I
because you
like
read the
it?
Wikipedia of antinatalism and you thought it would be funny or something?
No, I didn't know that that was a Wikipedia article.
You
I
didn't?
have
You
like
don't know what
actual
antinatalism
sources.
is? I guess I'm a bit more red. Sorry about that.
No, I know what that is, but I didn't know that like I didn't look up the Wikipedia. No, I didn't actually realize that antinatalism is a movement, right? I didn't know it's like movement had a Wikipedia page.
I mean, I'm pretty for sure by now it does, but I just meant like you just
Yeah, no,
saw
I
what
actually
antinatalism was.
researched. No, I'm using like the Cleveland Clinic, the CDC, a few universities, like studies on happiness, studies on child trauma, a lot of like really grim shit. Um, so that's kind of where I got this information.
Okay, it's just like, let's put it this way: if most people get dementia, should people not want to live because you can get dementia?
I
Like,
mean, you tell me, like is your life so much suffering that you would prefer to be dead?
you don't know that when you get dementia, you don't know that. Like, it literally, like, there's moments of clarity. For the most part, it's kind of hard to tell exactly, but
Yeah, no, my grandfather died with like really severe dementia.
I know but I'm trying to say, like, just because there's a bad thing, should we just throw the baby out with the bathwater, pun intended?
No, just don't make a bath and don't have a baby. Like, what are you saying?
I'm saying, like, having a kid, while is hard work, does ultimately benefit society and can
How?
be beneficial to the person themselves
Did you know
if they
criminals
can
were
do it
children?
easily. What?
Did you know that criminals were children?
Okay.
So how is having kids benefiting society? Your kid could be a criminal.
Your kid could also be literally everyone else. Like, I don't understand your point.
I
And
mean, do you
criminals
benefit
also
society?
benefit society. Criminals, depending on what you mean by crime, can also benefit society. A criminal would be someone that lied about holding Jews in sanctuary from the Nazi government. Like, that's a subjective term.
Okay, let's put it this way. Your kid could be a rapist.
Okay.
Is that a benefit to society?
They could have also done other things.
Right. They could
I
have
know
done
that the
nothing.
rape is bad, but that's
Is
just like
is
I said,
doing
throwing
nothing
the
a
baby out
benefit?
with the bathwater. We should punish them for the rape, yes. But to say that their life is defined by that moment is kind of fucked up, isn't it? I thought
I'm not
here we
defining their life.
believed in
You're the one
reform.
talking about benefiting society by having a child.
That's yes, but what I'm trying to
It's
get
not a
at, you're
guarantee.
naming all these one-off bad things. Like,
No,
if
dude, I
that kid
literally said
worked,
over half of all people experience like some sort of traumatic event in their life that like
I know, and I'm
before
trying to say, like,
16.
just because you experience a
It's not
traumatic
a
event
one-off
doesn't
event.
mean that your life was bad.
It okay. So somebody who experienced that, you'd be willing to tell them, "Hey, like just because that was bad doesn't mean your life is bad." When like it could actually mean that their life is like what, dude?
You're saying that people should kill themselves if they have PTSD. Is that
I'm
what you're
not
trying
saying
to
that.
say?
No.
Okay, then just because you have a traumatic event doesn't mean that your life is now forfeit. It's not worth having anymore.
You're saying that. You're saying
No,
that.
you're what? I'm the one arguing that you should have kids even if there's bad things that happen. You're the one
Why?
that's saying that we shouldn't have kids because bad things happen.
Yeah, and not only that, you're kind of likely to be the one to do the bad thing to your own kid. Why play that gamble? Why do that?
Again,
To benefit
the
society?
yes, because I think that ultimately humans are social creatures, and the reason why we got so far is because of our desire to benefit society. And two, with the abusing again, most abuse is done by people that don't understand what they're doing. And after they do the abuse, they typically don't like hearing that they did abuse, so they like to self-deny. So if you teach people about what is and isn't abuse ahead of time, they typically don't commit as much abuse.
You're suggesting that being abused is in your life is like just worth living.
I'm saying you shouldn't just kill yourself because you got spanked as a kid. That's
I'm not saying.
That's physical
abuse. Why do you
abuse.
keep bringing that up? Why do you keep bringing
That's
up the kill
physical
yourself
abuse.
argument?
That's what they're talking about. Sure, they're talking about worse things too, but they're also talking about spankings.
Dude, I'm the one talking here. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You're citing a study that says people get abused and saying that they shouldn't live because they get abused. You shouldn't.
So do you want to translate shouldn't be alive to should kill yourself? Do you think that those mean the same thing?
Make the life not worth having, then wouldn't forfeiting the life be valid?
You're not guaranteed any life with a child. You're not guaranteed anything, dude. You're not guaranteed a happy life. You're guaranteed like a coin flip at like traumatizing your own child. That's what you're guaranteed if your child lives. A fucking coin flip at being like somebody who fucks your child up permanently. So like how is it not selfish?
I don't care if it's selfish or selfless. Everything we do is selfish. You wouldn't do it if it didn't benefit yourself.
So why are you gonna rope someone else into it? What, you're gonna create a whole other person because you think society should be benefited in your way, when maybe you're not a social anthropologist, you're not a sociologist, you don't study the economy. How do you know that's the right option? Like, you don't. So you're being selfish by creating another person with this dogma and then expecting them to fulfill it. That's what's selfish about it.
I'm not expecting to fulfill it.
You're literally creating them to benefit society.
I'll say it. Like, if someone says that they don't want to live, and we do legitimate psychoanalysis to see that they're saying that just because they legitimately don't want to live, and it's not because of any external factors, I'll let them kill themselves. I don't care. Like, you can't ask the person beforehand, hey, baby, do you want to be born?
Point. Yeah, so why even put yourself in this fucking situation?
I already told you, like, some people just enjoy humanity being a prosperous.
So their selfish dogma, they've created another person because they want that person.
It's also selfish to not have
narrative.
a kid. There's no, like, I don't understand why you keep on going down this route.
Except I'm not risking another person's life by deciding not to create one.
In many ways you are. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if we don't know what's going to happen with the kid, you don't know if that kid could have saved many people. Like, that's like saying, oh, it's a coin flip, but also whenever it does get born, if the coin flip ends up being good, it didn't happen. Like, what?
Yeah. So I don't understand how not creating a person is harming somebody. Explain that to me.
Is not stopping a person that's going to kill someone else harming someone?
How is that equivalent?
Well, it's harming someone through inaction. You can.
So Hitler's mom harmed everybody by creating him.
That's what you were saying. Is that not what you were saying when you were saying that you are committing harm when you have kids because that kid could be a criminal?
No, I'm saying that you're running a risk of traumatizing your own child yourself. And then like, oh God, dude. Let's go over here. Being pregnant and raising a child is a process of suffering. Okay? Your child's traumatic event can give you PTSD. Avoid unnecessary suffering, yes? Do you agree with this? Avoid unnecessary suffering? Agree?
I agree, but I'm not agreeing to it being unnecessary. On some level, we have to continue having kids.
So you're telling me you need to have a kid and that's going to be a necessary suffering?
Not me specifically, but humans generally need people to have kids.
Okay,
we
sure.
need some people to do it. It's just because not everyone has to do it, but someone does.
Yeah. Why do you think that anybody listening to this should have a kid? Why do you think that they'd be a good parent?
I don't know them personally, so I can't say specifically why they would be a good parent.
Do you want to look at some demographics of Discord?
Like, dude, if this is just like your way to say I'm pro eugenics specifically for Discord users, like it's not that funny.
I mean, this might go on YouTube too. Let's say 2 million people see this. Like, how fucked is the world gonna be then if everybody who sees that gets sterilized?
I mean, it's going to have widespread effects depending on how where it's from. If it's from
so your
smaller
kids are gonna
countries,
take
those could collapse. Like,
so your kids are gonna
literally
take care of
collapse.
you?
Like,
Like
what?
So like your kids are gonna take care of you in your retirement, is what you're saying?
Not just you specifically, but by paying taxes, they're basically taking care of everybody in a small way that is old and can't work, and the
Why don't we
future
automate things
generation.
better? If we're gonna change the world, why don't we just make automation better and establish a universal basic income?
I am also for that.
Yeah, me too, bro. But like, that's not how shit is.
Okay, so since we don't
So
live in the perfect world, we should just not procreate anymore? Like, that's what
I
I'm trying
think,
to get at.
morally speaking, you are not obligated to create somebody and bring them into this world. It's selfish. It's morally wrong. You should not create another person to get yourself out of a situation. You're damning them. You're condemning them to a world that is like going downhill. Do you understand? Like shit is going south. It keeps
In
going
some
south.
respects, but it's also coming up in a lot of respects. Trump actually got indicted like 3 times. Sure, he can still run for presidency, but he's also killing off the possibility of people like Ron DeSantis being the Republican or front runner against Joe Biden. Sure, Joe Biden isn't Bernie Sanders, but Joe Biden also isn't Trump. Like, things are getting better in certain
Seriously gonna
spots.
say Biden is better than Trump? That's like comparing like never mind.
Wait,
I was
you
gonna be
think
really
Biden
vulgar.
is as bad as Trump?
Bro, he might not be like as bad. I would be very
Okay,
hesitant
then
to say
if
better,
he's
but
not
that's a
as
different
bad,
debate.
then he's either worse or better. Which one is it?
I don't. Maybe he's like 5% better.
Okay, then he's better than Trump.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Things got better.
Let's try to get this back on the main topic. I don't want to get too political here.
I know.
Honestly.
So
So explain to me how not sterilizing yourself makes your life better. How remaining fertile and running a risk of an unplanned pregnancy. Explain to me how that is more responsible and a better decision than sterilizing yourself.
Well, like I said, I do not believe in not getting a vasectomy and whatnot. But planning to have a child is fine. Like, you sterilizing yourself, I would consider that to be castration, making sure that you can't have kids ever. I wouldn't really consider
shouldn't
wearing a
consider
condom being sterilization, would you?
You shouldn't consider a vasectomy reversible. It's usually not. More likely, it's not reversible than it is. So, I think that if we look at your statistics and you use a condom and you're in your 20s and you're in a monogamous sexual relationship, on average, you're going to have sex about 80 times a year. So within 2 years, that like 99% or whatever starts to shrink. And I'm sure we're all familiar with drop rates. And some cursed loot is going to appear if you keep grinding. Do you understand, like, how long did it really take you to get the, like, fucking special armor? Because
You do know that condoms isn't the only thing that you wear if you're having protected sex. There are many different things that a woman can put on, like spermicide and whatnot,
yeah,
which
are you going to trust her?
adds to makes it a lot rarer than what you're trying to say. 2%, sure, isn't as uncommon as most people think, but it's more like 0.02% if you're doing everything right.
Okay, so how many years is it going to take you to have an unplanned child then?
Like, people do things that are risky. Are you saying that nobody should ever have alcohol? Like,
I mean,
that can kill you. Like,
nobody should ever have alcohol and drive. No, don't take that risk.
no, I just mean have alcohol. You can have an allergic reaction which kills you.
Sure. So why would you risk another person's life?
I'm just saying, like, sometimes
Why do you get
we're
to risk
just
an innocent child?
okay.
You're gonna
Between
bring
you and
somebody
me,
into this world
I've
and
already
then
answered
force
this
them to
question
live
like
with you.
10 times, and you've probably already answered all the questions I have. Are there any would you like to move on to viewer questions?
Yeah, I still don't understand. Let's level with each other here. Let's agree that things should be better, right? I think
Yes.
we agree that things should be better. I'll get the misconception out of the way. I don't think the entire planet Earth should be sterilized. Okay, that's stupid.
Okay, so you're not an antinatalist. That's what I was trying to get at earlier.
I don't know, man, but my opinion is that if you're capable of listening to this and like you're gonna be like part of like some million or so of people who actually see this, that amount of people sterilizing themselves probably make their lives a lot better, like so much better than like people who are having children, especially in like the next like lifetime of time. So I think that's maybe where we disagree.
I'm saying, like, if everyone that would benefit in the short term from not having kids did not have kids, in the long term they would suffer because they would now live in their aging demographic, they would be having to go to work because there are no young kids to enter the workforce, so we need to start raising the retirement age.
Okay, yeah, sure. A systemic collapse would happen if birth rates declined to such a degree to like end society. I'm not advocating for that. I'm telling you, like, as some dude on the internet, like, you should sterilize yourself if you want to be happier, and if you want to make your wife happier, if you want to like a chance for financial security, if you want to like not risk the chance of bringing another person into a shitty life. Like if you think maybe, hey, I'm a little selfish and narcissistic, I'm sure all the dreams and aspirations I have for a child are my own, and I can't force my child to have these. Like, you should get sterilized. You're not missing out on anything. You can adopt. If you really want a kid, you can adopt. You know what I mean? So it's a safer bet. Your life's gonna be better. and you can watch all your siblings have babies and be poor and be the cool rich uncle who like has all the fun. And if you think that's selfish, then consider how like you're not bringing another person into the world based on your own dogma. You're minding your own business. And that's not saying kill yourself if you're depressed.
That's not what I was trying to get at earlier. I'm trying to say, like, if you're saying, like, having a kid, there's no pros to it whatsoever.
I'm not saying that.
And it's because that if you raise them, that they'll have a bad life, then you're basically saying that kids that are having a bad life right now would be better off dead, would you not?
Better off dead is different than better than never having existed in the first place.
I really don't see that big of a difference.
Better off dead indicates loss. They have value in their lives, shitty as they may be, that they don't want to give up. Like, you can be depressed and have a shitty life and not be suicidal. And then to lose your life, that's still bad, would be suffering.
Okay,
you know
then
what
you're
I mean?
saying on some level it's good that they're alive.
If you're forced to be alive and you don't want to die, then it's good that you don't die.
And yeah, then we're on the same page, because even
So
though they
I'm
didn't
saying-
choose it, they want to keep doing it. Like,
don't force people to be alive.
I already told you, I'm not forcing to be alive. If they legitimately want to kill themselves, I'm
force
advocating
people
for
to
assisted
have-
suicide.
Don't force people
There's
to
no
have
way
tasted
to
life.
not get someone to be alive without like there's no other thing like it. You can't ask them for consent. Like,
So why do you feel comfortable doing it? Because it happened to you?
because my biology tells me it's good.
Your biology doesn't speak any language.
Yes, it does. When my dick
Speaks
feels
hormones,
good,
yeah.
that's my biology telling me it's good to reproduce.
Or it could be telling you that something's going on down there and it feels good. Like, it doesn't mean anything about reproduction.
The thing that's going on down there is me doing the action that causes reproduction.
Every time your dick feels good, you're reproducing?
Just because I failed to get it in the hole doesn't mean that I'm not still doing the actions that cause reproducing.
I mean, it sounds like you're failing to reproduce.
I know, but I'm still doing the actions.
You're not doing the actions if you're failing.
I'm doing the actions that would lead to it.
Like, are you artificially inseminating someone? Because manual assistance to achieve orgasm, which hopefully, like, wherever this is being posted doesn't, like, trigger anything, as a fancy term to say what we're talking about,
You can say
isn't
masturbation,
reproduction.
it's not a banned word.
Oh, well. Anyways, it's sexual. It's not reproductive behavior.
It's tricking your.
I don't think I'm like. Let's take me out of this. Do you think you're having sex when you're masturbating? Because I don't think I do.
I'm triggering my sexual organs reproduction action. I don't know what else I would
Sure.
call it.
So your biology's telling you that you feel good.
Yeah, when I do something where I spread my half of the reproduction, I don't get why you're arguing that we are biologically wired to want to do that.
I mean, sure, we're wired to want to reproduce. It doesn't mean sensations don't mean intentions, though. Like, they're completely different things. Like, the causation of pregnancy is related to like that, sure, but just because that feels good doesn't mean that you're reproducing. Like your biology does
It
not
feels
know that's for
good because
reproduction.
it's to get us to reproduce.
Like according to who?
Wait,
It
do
could
you
just
not
feel.
believe in evolution?
I mean, I do, but it could feel not good, and people would probably still do it.
No,
That's literally
it
how it
would
works
by
for like a
definition
lot
feel
of other
good if we
animals.
wanted to do it. Like,
Explain rape in the animal kingdom then. You're saying so it just
the
needs to feel
one
good for
side
men?
wants to do it, the other side doesn't. It still ends up getting reproduction from a want to do something.
You know, honestly, I think we're getting off topic here. This is getting a little.
I know. I already asked to go to questions. Like, we're just going to get to do these weird joke conversations at this point.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, let's move on then.
Give me 1 sec. Now forgetting the code. Give me a sec. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. There we go. All right, stop that timer. All right, we got 10 questions so far. Wash, your first question on the what if my reason, is that, who's that for? Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure because you didn't put the name in it. All right, so the first question is for Azramelle. Azramelle, am I saying that right?
Hear me? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. All right. So the first question is from Wash, and it's what if my reason for wanting to have children is because I have a lot of love to give and want more children to love and raise. My motivation is purely to make more happy, healthy, well-adjusted people. I don't care about legacy. Should I still sterilize?
Deserve to like put that on kids. Like intentions don't really matter if you've hurt somebody. You know, like you can apologize later, but the damage has already been done. To be honest, if you have a lot of kids because you got a lot of love to give, and that's your reason for making people exist, then like maybe you should consider moderation, because anything in moderation can be a little bit not good. And plus,
You
like I
just
said
said that
before,
backwards. You said that
oh shit, you're
anything
right. I
Well,
totally
hold
fucked that
on.
up.
Oh, yeah.
I totally
Oh,
fucked that
yeah.
up. Anything
Okay.
in excess, thank you, sir. Anything in excess can be not good. So like my first question for you is like, why do you think that you're gonna succeed? And then, also like, honestly, I kind of just spaced. So that's kind of my answer. Let's move on.
All right. And Poop, do you have anything you'd like to say on that? Or
like, I don't know, man. Like, that's not really an argument to him because he was saying that like you can just adopt. So why wouldn't you just adopt?
There's a lot of kids out there who kind of need your love. And like I said, being adopted is better than not being adopted. So if you are actually concerned for the well-being of a child, you would adopt a child because that's literally the best thing that can happen to them in that context.
all right. I did want to add just real quick to that is that when it comes to adoption, it's actually very difficult in today's world. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But another question, and this is from CMFP, and it's for Azramelle, if you could go back in time and have a conversation with your dad before you were born, would you try to convince him to sterilize himself?
No, I value my life. So like I guess this kind of goes back. Um, so let's put it this way. I've been raised to value my life. In fact, I think it's part of my biology is to not want to die. And so if you actually ask me that question, and I expect the same answer from everybody else is like, no, I would rather be alive than not alive. However, I think that the type of suffering that I've experienced, if I were to live a life that could get worse, I might actually change my answer. I think that like if somebody really thinks that their life sucks enough, then yeah, sure, suicide and go back in time and eliminate yourself before you were even a concept. But personally, I think that if you ask anybody this question, they're going to say no. You've just been indoctrinated to value your life, and if you think that for the better of society that you want to have a child, and your child's going to do great things, but you're Hitler, it probably is for the better of society that you go and ask your dad to like sterilize himself. So I guess it kind of depends on who you are and what your motivations are. If you want a better life, you should sterilize yourself. If your dad wanted a better life, like without you in it and without worrying about you and all the shit that you did to him or whatever, or the feelings that he felt because of your existence, perhaps he would say something else. So.
And I'll just say myself for that is technically you would create a paradox, so it'd be kind of impossible anyway.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Another question from Wash for Azramelle. You can answer this if you want.
Okay.
Do you identify as a nihilist?
I kind of understand nihilism. I'm not huge in philosophy. I wish I knew more about philosophy. From what I understand of nihilism is it's kind of the reasoning of like, well, nothing matters because we're all gonna die. Um, and I don't necessarily think that means nothing matters. I do think we're all gonna die, and after you die, nothing will matter to you. Um, but while you're alive, which is where you are right now, shit matters. So, yeah, I guess that's not really a nihilist answer, but maybe
No,
it is.
it is. Actually, nihilism is more so about how nothing, quote unquote, matters in the sense of like moral responsibilities. So you would want to live your life to your fullest.
So is this Nietzsche, the Uberman, right? Is that what that is?
It's not just him. There's a couple other
Live your
people.
life to the
It's not just
fullest.
a Nazi thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that either, but I definitely think like there is kind of a moral code that we all have to adhere to. Like universally speaking, like humans all are part of this system of like there are things that are good and bad. Um, so like I guess that kind of matters. Like I wouldn't say like nothing matters, so go shoot up a church or something, but I would definitely say like nothing matters, so like eh,
Oh, wait.
to an extent, you know? But I think it's different for everybody.
All right. So we have another question for Azramelle, and this is from CMFP. Please explain how the world would be a better place if everyone in developed nations took your advice and sterilized themselves. And hypothetically, I don't know about the rest of this question.
I don't even know.
I'll answer it
I don't
anyway.
even know how to answer the beginning. I'm not like a economist. I'm not here saying like not having children is gonna cause world peace. Like I don't fucking know. Uh, if you want a better life and you want to be like less stressed and you want to like not bring somebody into the world against their will, which to me is like reverse rape, if you really think about it, then don't have kids. You won't have regrets. You can always adopt. In fact, if you want kids, consider for a long time why you actually want kids. So I don't expect everybody in the developed world to sterilize themselves, nor do I want that.
Yeah. And I do want to mention for everybody, let's try to keep religion out of the questions if we could.
I mean, it's pretty hard to.
I know it's just the rest of the question was, and hypothetically, Islam became the dominant superpower in the world by sheer population. But again, that's a religion, not really a race.
That
So
doesn't change people's well-being. Like Islam,
yeah,
wherever it is right now, might not look like Islam in the U.S. And
yeah,
perhaps, like I personally, I'm not religious, but I don't really think that like right now for me the standard is Christianity. I could give like one less shit if it was a different flavor. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter to me.
yeah. This is from Hanko Flanio, Flamo. Yeah, Flamo. I don't know why I'm reading that wrong. Starting to think Irish for a second. Like Flanagan. This is for Azramelle. Should we spay and neuter our kids? All I can think is Bob Barker now.
No, don't touch. The whole idea is not fucking your kids up. Okay, like leave them out of it, man. Just leave the kids out of it. This is about you. This is about you, like trying to make your life better, trying to prepare yourself for a type of society that's not going to support you if you have kids, for a type of lifestyle that would be like, hey, like let's wake up and go do what we want instead of possibly provide a substandard level of care for another human being. You know, how many of us like had fucked up families and maybe feel a little less than confident that they actually know how to be a parent? Furthermore, I kind of have to raise an eyebrow at you if you think that you are like ready for parenthood, especially if you're in your 20s. Like, come the fuck on, man. So
Yeah, you shouldn't have a kid until you're at least 30 nowadays.
All right.
or not at all.
Another one. Well, I mean, yeah, that's up to. Anyways, it's from Wash for Azramel. What if you restate your position as some people should sterilize themselves rather than risk having children?
I don't want to restate my position, but I agree with that. Like that's,
All right.
I'll add that to my position.
All right. This is from CMFP for Azramel. All right, this is a weird one. Should the parents of Jonas Salk, creator of PolioVac, sterilize themselves? Would the world have been a better place as a result based on your worldview? If not, does this not negate your position?
So would some zeitgeist actor, if they didn't exist because their parents didn't have like, okay, like maybe if like somebody's mother wasn't murdered, then we would already have like a solution that's a lot better for diabetes. Like, what if, man?
Yeah, I believe I'd categorize it as a what if, because many things could have happened. But anyways.
So I believe in a zeitgeist. Like, let's put it that way. Like, somebody in that time frame, due to the way that society and science is going along, like, probably would have stumbled upon it. Like, sure, like, give or take a few years, statistically speaking, but it at a certain point, like, it's bound to happen. You know, like the monkeys are gonna type out Shakespeare eventually.
This is from Jinx for Azramel. If you experience suffering at some point, should we all die, suffering happens to everyone at some point, so should we all die? Seems like the kind of the same question.
We already answered that, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just restate it. If your suffering is so bad that you think you should die, um, and like it's not like it's not gonna get better, then I'll support your suicide, sure. But like I'm also just a dude. Like I'm not a licensed counselor. You know what I mean? Like that's literally my belief. Uh, but I don't think that many people would use suffering as an excuse to kill themselves. And if they don't think it's valid, then I don't think it's valid either.
All right, this is from Walsh. He didn't put the name, but I'm guessing it's for Azramelle. But if Poop, you want to answer it, you can. Why do you think that being pregnant and raising a child is suffering? It's true that there are unpleasant parts of it, but overall, having a child adds a ton of love and happiness to your life. There are a net, they are a net gain for most people in terms of overall happiness versus the amount of suffering.
No, that's just wrong. Pregnancy, about 50% of women have morning sickness. Like, is you tell me, is vomiting like regularly at the scent of something not suffering? Like, if somebody took a dump 100 meters away from you and you caught a whiff of it and you threw up because of that, because you literally had morning sickness, I would say that you're suffering. So like from the onset, that's like one of the first things that you get. Um, and like I said, like let's take a look at the demographics of Discord real quick. It's mostly men. Like you want to say like, oh well, women can do this, women can do all these things. Um, no, you kind of have an obligation to prevent that from happening to the woman you love, especially if you're like an old school monogamous dude. So I definitely consider like pregnancy suffering, specifically for the woman. For the man, if you're trying to support a woman through a pregnancy and like she's being like hormonal, like it's literally a meme. It's so common and it happens to everybody. Um, Complications in pregnancy can induce suffering, and they happen kind of common, like on a common occurrence. And then you have an entire life to live that includes suffering. So you tell me if your child's suffering is worth it for them. You know what I mean? It's a fucked up thing to do, to just decide for another person that like, oh yeah, this suffering equals out for you because you're afraid of dying or you're afraid of it like not existing. So like yeah, that's kind of my explanation for how I think it's suffering.
All right.
Would like to answer this really quick. Just because
Yeah, go ahead.
just because even if you think that pleasant things happen from it, that doesn't mean that it's not suffering. Those unpleasant things that you were talking about, that's what the suffering is. I don't know, like you already agree. I don't know why you even asked it. Okay, you can go now.
All right. Just making sure. Another one for Azramelle. It's from Jinx. I'm just gonna go ahead and bleep that word, say it differently. Yo, bro, what the heck are you talking about? Condoms condoms either always effective. We have many things to stop unplanned pregnancy.
Men have condoms and vasectomy. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to say. Like, it's
only
like
one's
just look
100%
this up.
effective.
Like, literally, a condom is just a piece of rubber. That piece of rubber can break. That's why it's not 100%.
And you're saying that spermicide, you're going to use it properly. You're going to use it in time. It's not going to be stale. You're going to know how to use it. You're going to use it every time. You're saying that she's not going to skip her birth control. And like furthermore, like safe sex looks a lot different when you're sterilized. It makes things like that's kind of just a side point, and I didn't even want to bring it up, but you don't have to worry about any of that if you're in a monogamous relationship and you're both STD free. Like, which, like aside from herpes, I think everybody's like pretty, like usually on average STD free. So.
All right. I don't know who this is for, so I'm just gonna say it, and both of you can answer if you decide. Even your adopted kid can become a criminal or rapist, as he previously mentioned. He'll also have to pay taxes to the government. These are the reasons he previously mentioned. I do not see the logic here.
Answer it because this is so incredibly stupid that even though it's defending my point, I can't. You're not making that kid. You're not adding to the world a criminal. The adopted kid's going to be a criminal either way. Like what?
Yeah, I honestly, to reduce suffering, what you can do is you can give that criminal a good life before he became a criminal. And in any chance, like being around a supportive structure of a family will reduce somebody's like likelihood of making shitty decisions like that. And I think Poopemanz and I both agree that making the world a better place for children is kind of the priority here. Like that needs to happen, but my solution is what he disagrees with on how we handle that currently. So.
All right, we have one last question from Wash, and I'm guessing this is for Azramelle.
Okay. Well, that was
Some
just fun
people
getting
keep forgetting to
roasted,
put
guys.
the name on it. But if you want to answer it, Poop, you can. But I'm guessing it's a thing from a previous question that they asked. You cannot possibly think that pregnancy is more suffering than it's worth, or else women wouldn't be having more than one child. Yes, women can have unpleasant pregnancies, but the child adds way more joy than the suffering caused.
So you're just gonna assume that she's like not having a child against her will, and that she like has access to abortion, and that she's not being pressured and like psychologically like manipulated by her loved ones, or that she's just undecided and just going along with it because it's what people want her to do. It's because it's what's normalized in your society, and kind of like why I'm here being like, no, like you shouldn't have kids. It's not normal to just decide that you should have kids because you think that's what people do. Like that's a terrible reason, and I could give like a great list of reasons why people have kids. They're awful. So yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like that's all the questions we have. Sorry, Poop, you didn't really get much. It seems like
No,
everybody
I
was kind of on your
expected
side on
as
this
much.
one.
Nobody's really
know.
like, you want people to have kids? What's up with that? No.
I'm definitely the unpopular opinion, so I kind of was expecting to get a little roasted too. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate you both just spending the time and rescheduling all this with me too. That was like really cool, and Poopemanz, you're a great debater. I really enjoyed this. So
Yeah, we would have done this earlier, but a few days ago, but I ended up having a bunch of stuff I had to get done, and I've ended up spacing because I thought it was supposed to be for the first, not the
Hey, we all
like,
had to reschedule. Remember, I was the first
Yeah.
one to mess up.
at least you kids didn't get in the way, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on and having this debate, and I want to thank everybody in the audience that has been stuck around this long and listened to it. And thanks for all the questions. I think we have another debate coming up soon. Nope, we don't. We don't have anything coming up right now. All right. So
not today, but like next Tuesday, I'm going to do another debate where I'm going to argue for the case of is BDSM self-harm with that Wash guy that asked so many questions.
What are you
All right.
affirming or denying?
No, I'm saying it is self-harm.
Okay.
BDS
Okay.
is not self-harm. Let me be clear. Just the sadomasochism part.
Hmm. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, we can work that out and stuff. I'll probably end up moderating it if no one else has done it.
No, I think someone else
so
already agreed. Let me check who it was. I think it's T ... or whatever.
tinfoil. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we'll just have to remind him to get the event set up so we have it on there so people can see it. Other than that, thank you everybody for coming on. It's been good, and we're going to go ahead. Let me check to make sure no one's in there right now. Yeah, so we'll move to here. I'll just create. I will create your own voice chat because all the other ones are full.
Are we done
And
recording?
yeah, you guys can stop if you want.
I'm going to
But
show a little bit of the after show if people are okay with it.
Yeah, I'll be around
yeah,
for like a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll move down to the create your own voice chat. I'll set one up. Discussion. Anybody in the audience would like to ask questions at that point or have a discussion, we can do that. So again, thanks everybody, and I'm gonna go and close this out and see everybody down in that room.
Yeah, take care.
All right, later.